let's face it, losing hair. 50% of all the men in the world gonna lose their hair one day, right?
Yes, yes.
That's a lot of people. The strange thing for me was it started very fast, and then it just stopped.
Right.
For several years. When I worked with myself and my confidence, when it went up, my level of confidence, I didn't need the Rogaine anymore, to be honest. And also, it's not only like shave your head, go exercise, meet friends, socialize, meet girls, force yourself to do things that makes you happy.
If I ever get any hate, it's always from those guys.
If you ask me, do you want my hair back? Hell no, man. I don't have time for hair. I just raise it up and embrace life and myself.
How's it going, everyone, and welcome to the Baldcafe podcast. This is now episode 21. Things are going great here over on Baldcafe. The positivity's flowing. The podcast episodes are coming thick and fast. Today is no different. Today we've got Sina on the podcast coming to us from Sweden. Sina, it's a pleasure to have you here, man. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm doing great. How are you doing, Harry?
I'm doing well. Things are busy. But like always, trying to get the content out there, sharing more stories, like your own story. And that's what it's all about. So that's what we're here to do today. So yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Listen, let's jump straight into it. Talk to me about your experience with balding, going bald.
Yeah.
When did it start?
I think I was approximately 18, 17, 18, something like that. The thing is that usually I always buzz cut my hair. So I was like 17 or 18. One day I was like, I want to grow my hair, So after like 3 weeks, I can reckon like it's falling off. I was like, oh shit, I'm panicking, what's happening?
Yeah.
My hair is falling off. I'm just 18 years old, Is something wrong with me? Is it genetics? I freaked out, to be honest, and I started to Google a lot, to read about Rogaine, talking with friends, talking to doctors, and basically my family told me if you look at your dad's head, that's what you get, that's genetics.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, it was very hard for me to understand that how can my hair fall off at a young age, So I had hard to accept it in the beginning, to be honest.
Right, so you're only 18 years old, and before that you said you had a buzz cut, and you said it was at that time you didn't notice, but it was only when you started to grow that hair longer that maybe in certain areas it wasn't growing. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right, and
on the scalp, it was thinning on the scalp a bit, to be honest. But the strange thing for me was it started very fast, and then it just stopped.
Right.
For several years.
Right.
It just stopped, or maybe it fell off, but very, very slow. But I started with Rogaine when I was like 19 or something like that.
Okay, so you're 18 years old, you notice it's falling out, and you said you went onto Google, right? And so when you were on Google, were you looking for ways to stop it? Is that what you were searching for? How to stop hair loss or what to do? And then did that give you the idea, oh, you should use Rogaine? What did you find online? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I found that you should maybe use Rogaine or Propecia, Proscar, finasteride, whatever,
Yeah.
The thing is that when you use Rogaine or Propecia and stuff, they don't tell you about the side effects, basically. You can read it very little on the bottle. But, for me, it's not worth it anymore. But I used it for 2-3 years. It helped a lot. And then I was like, fuck it. I don't care. I just go for the buzz cut, shave it off, embrace it.
Yeah.
And after 2 or 3 years, it didn't affect me that much anymore. I've never had any problems getting girls or being social. And, a lot of people tell me that it even suits me better being bald than having hair, to be honest.
Right, yeah. So I imagine when you were using this Rogaine, how old were you then? Is that sort of early 20s, 21, 22?
Early 20, 21, something like that, yeah.
And
9 to 21.
And you just put it on every day? Was it the liquid or the foam? You just put it on every day?
I sprayed it on morning and night. I think, for 3 years approximately.
3 years. And do you think that's what helped hold on to the hair for longer?
It did, but it still was falling off a bit, So, and consider the side effects, consider the money you invest in it, It's you're honestly, to be honest, you're just bullshitting yourself when you're taking Rogaine and Propecia and doing hair transplants, because you're not going to stop anything. If it's in your genes, you just have to try to embrace it as fast as possible, and then just go on with your life and be fucking amazing.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk more about that, because I think that's basically the whole point, right? In a nutshell, You've just said it there, and I totally agree. I completely agree. So, what changed for you then? Because obviously at the start, right, you're using this Rogaine, trying to hold on to it, I guess, like you said, kidding yourself, bullshitting yourself.
Yeah.
Is that maybe because you were young? Maybe you worried a lot? Why did you not jump in straight away? Why do you think you sort of delayed it for a few years? Was it your age? Was it, why did you do that?
I think it was a lot of factors. For example, my age, confidence level wasn't that high as it is today. When you're younger, you think that your looks is everything, but it's not,
Yeah.
It comes to confidence, education level, it's a lot of things, a lot of aspects that affects, you know what I mean? So I think when I work with myself and my confidence, when it went up, my level of confidence, I didn't need the Rogaine anymore, to be honest.
Fantastic. Well, maybe can you talk a little bit more about some of the things you did to build up that confidence?
I think, self-development, I started to read a lot. I was working in Norway. I started to study economics at the university. I started to exercise a lot, run, gym, football, soccer, whatever, Try to do a lot of things to get better as a person.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think, in the ebook I write, once you going through this transition, you really need to focus on ways to improve yourself. And when you start making progress in those areas, like you said, whether it's intelligence, your physical health, your mental health, when you start progressing in those areas, the sort of hair falls to the behind. You don't worry so much about hair because, like you said, you realize just how unimportant it actually is.
It is.
But I think
it is actually.
I think it's a fair point you mentioned there. For some, it takes a while to get to that realization, and maybe that was in your experience. At 18, 19, hadn't realized that yet.
I think also society have a big role in this. We're trying to live up to all these ideals. But it's not the reality. You have to work with yourself and don't compete with others. Compete with yourself. Embrace yourself and accept yourself. When you can do that, you can leave it behind and work on the other things that's more important. Because let's face it, losing hair, 50% of all the men in the world are going to lose their hair one day, right?
Yes.
That's a lot of people. And I promise you, when you go to job interview, when you meet a girl, that's not the first thing she's going to look at your hair. It's not. I think it's, people when they are a bit younger, they focus a lot of looks, how does it look? They want to look like their friends and they want to look like families and stuff like that. But you have to be strong in yourself and embrace the look and have the confidence. I promise you, nobody, even, friends or family or girlfriends or whatever, haven't mentioned anything about my hair loss, So
if you're confident with it yourself, especially if you don't make it an issue, other people won't make it an issue either. It's just not something that you worry about, and in turn, they won't worry about it as well. You're 100% right, man. And
they don't think about it.
Yeah.
And it looks very good, So.
Yeah, it does. Especially if you just go for it. If you don't make a big deal about it, you just go for it. It really does look good. And when you decided to take that action and just, I'm just going to buzz it off, how did that play out for you? Was there one thing that you remember, a certain event or time when you just said, okay, I'm going to go for it now, let's just get it over and done with?
I think I was working in a production company, and I said to myself one day, I was like, okay, it's falling off here on the sides, it's coming in the back a bit,
Yeah.
It doesn't look good like this. So just shave it off, embrace it, don't think about it. And everybody was mentioning it. They're like, yeah, it looks really good on you,
Yeah.
You're embracing it, And I have a bit luck when it comes to the shape of my face. You can see it's very cut here.
Yeah.
And I have a round head. So for me, to be honest, this is the absolute best look. And if you ask me, do you want my hair back? Hell no, man. I don't have time for hair. I just raise it up and embrace life and myself.
Yeah, definitely. What's your routine then? What's your like shaving routine now? Do you do it every day, or do you wet shave it?
I do it every other day. I wet shave it in the morning before I'm going out. So I want it to be clean always. For me, it's important to have the clean shave. The clean look, and looks is it's a bit interesting for me, and I want to keep it clean. So maximum 2 days, and then I shave it up. But I could wait a week. It still looks all right. But I want that clean shave.
I agree. I think also for me. And a lot of other guys, probably same for you. When I wake up in the morning, I'm the same every other day, and I, put the cream on, shave it off. I just feel like I'm, even though you're bald and you've got no hair, it doesn't mean you can't do things to take care of your appearance and take pride in the way you look. And for me, when I shave it off, that's my way of, being proud of the way I look and taking pride in that. And I feel good when I do it.
And also, it's not only like shave your head. Go exercise, meet friends, socialize, meet girls, force yourself to do things that makes you happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when it becomes a routine, it's much easier for you to adapt to the new look, to the new you, and every other day you refresh yourself by cutting off your hair or buzz cut, whatever, if you want a clean shave, doesn't matter, as long as you can embrace it and be confident in yourself and your looks. That's the key, it doesn't matter. People will notice the day you start to notice too much.
Right. Oh, so what you mean then is if you worry about it so much, that's when people are going to notice, and that's when people will pick up on those insecurities, right?
Yes, and then you have a problem.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist, you know what I mean?
Yes, no, you're right. I think when guys are in that phase, and hey, we've got to reflect on that for a minute. Obviously, not everyone who's watching this is going to be in the same position that we are, but the idea of sharing these stories is to show those guys, show the guys where we were, a couple of years ago, however many years ago, and exactly the same. The hair was falling out. I was worrying about it. And having all these stories in my mind about how awful I was going to look when I didn't have any hair, and how bad my life was going to be. But in reality, people aren't worried about the way you look until you put so much attention and focus on that worrying, when people notice you trying to cover it up, or, head down. Yeah, and that's when people will start to pick up on that.
What you focus on will grow in life,
Yes. Thoughts become things. That's another one of my favorite ones.
Things, becomes reality, becomes you. You have to be. It doesn't matter even if you're bald or not. If you start to think bad about yourself and your looks, you're gonna look like shit for yourself. You know what I mean? And then everybody's gonna embrace the new look you have. So I don't give myself like the space to think negative about myself, because I know what I can give. I know who I am. I know how I look. I know I am embracing it. I know I look good. I'm just trying to help others, to embrace it like me. I know young people, maybe in the beginning of the balding process, it's hard, you're used to your hair, but just take a razor or a buzz cut and just cut it off and embrace it. Go to the gym, socialize, get a tan, whatever, whatever makes you feel fresh and good, just do it.
Yeah. Have you had anyone ask you for advice or comment? Did they say, how did you, maybe colleagues or friends who are also losing their hair, has anyone ever reached out to you and asked, how did you do it? How do you embrace that look? I'm worrying about it, or something. Have you ever had any experiences like that?
Well, maybe not reached out, but I have a friend. Like he told me, like it doesn't feel that good. He wants to do a laser and remove all the hair.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, man, you don't need to do that. I'm also bald. He was like, but it suits you so well. You know, you don't need to think about it. It's perfect for your head face, but it's perfect for your head face also. You know, it's hard to be. Usually humans are very self-critics. You know, you're very harsh on yourself, but it's easier to like see the positive things in other people. You know, it's very hard to see it in yourself.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Maybe if someone's telling you, hey, you know, maybe they have shaved it off. No, it looks really good. I think there are guys, who might struggle in that initial thing because they're maybe still being so critical of themselves. Like we said, thinking the worst. You know, I wanna get your opinion. Since starting Baldcafe, like I said, and you know, you came on here, you said you want to help others, and that's something I've really noticed. A lot of the guys who have embraced that balding, you know, they've shaved it off, they're just doing the best, you know, they're looking good, feeling good. The comments that from those guys and everything in the comment section is always fantastic, so supportive, so positive. And the only negative stuff that I get is from guys who are like pro like hair transplant, or they say, yeah, you should take the drugs, you should get a hair transplant, you know, and if I ever get any hate, it's always from those guys. Why do you think that is? Why do these guys feel the need to hate on those guys who have embraced the hair loss? Do you think they feel threatened by it? Do you think they feel intimidated by these guys who can maybe, you know, build up the courage to do what they maybe haven't been able to do yet? Why do you think that negativity comes from those guys?
Well, I think two things. First of all, the thing you mentioned, you told me that maybe they are scared or threatened. They want to embrace the looks, but they don't maybe have the confidence. And maybe I think the way of the looks, how they look on life, maybe in general they are more negative as humans. Maybe. I'm not sure. You can, for example, if a negative thing happened to you in life, you can reverse it if you want, you know, or you can hang on to it and make yourself to like a cheap or whatever, you know what I mean? I think it's has a lot of to do with how are you as a human being? Are you negative? Are you positive? How's your confidence levels? You know, I'm a kind of guy who likes to like embrace like. How I look, you know, I accept it. I know my parents looks like this. My father, he's bald, you know, he's embracing it since like 30 years, whatever, you know. I think for me, if a negative thing happened in life, I will reverse it to something positive. That's my way of looking at life, you know. Yeah,
you can always find positivity in any situation.
Any situation, it doesn't matter, you know. It's your life, you know. It's not like it's not going to affect me if you're negative about your balding process, but please don't affect others.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like if you want to feel down, depressed,
it's up to you.
Which is normal, you know. Don't get me wrong. A lot of guys feel like that at the start, but there has to come a point when you realize that. If you really want to get through it and get over it and not feel like that, you're going to have to change the way you think about it. Because, you know, like the saying goes, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And so it's a choice, you know, you have a choice, that way to sort of perceive it. But like you said, if you want to be in that mind frame, that's cool. You go do that, but don't, you know, like you said, be negative to other guys who are embracing it and trying to, you know, be the best that they can be. So it's interesting, I just wanted to get your point on that because it's something.
And one more thing. The thing is that, for example, when you focus too much on negative things in life, like losing your hair, you will lose a lot of opportunities that happens around your environment, you know.
Yeah.
So I think focusing on the negative aspect of losing hair is basically like shutting your head in the sand and don't look around you. You know, you're gonna lose a lot of opportunities and things that happens in life. Maybe you will lose a lot of years, So try to focus on the good things in life. There is always good aspects in everybody's life. It doesn't matter if you have a shitty life or not, You can focus on the good things and try to embrace that.
Yeah. So I put out a video talking about how losing my hair made me a better person. And I said, for other people, look for ways to do that. So in your experience, do you think that going through this hair loss experience has made you a better person than you might have been if you hadn't have had this experience?
I would say specifically, yeah. Generally in life, you get more humble because I would say the more thing, like if you have like harsh times in life, I think if you work through it, you will come out more humble and stronger as a person. Yeah. You can help others, Generally, yeah, I think so. That's a very good point, actually. Yeah. It is.
Yeah, because it goes back to what we just said there about taking positives from all situations, and I think that having dealt with that, it definitely made me a stronger person. And it's strange looking back, right? Because think about all of the horrible things that could happen to you in your lifetime. And honestly, if I've said it before, if losing your hair is the worst thing you have to deal with, then really you should count yourself lucky, right? We're lucky that that's the worst thing we're dealing with. Yeah. And you also made a really key point at the start there that, half of guys, and as they get older, that percentage increases even more, But so many guys are going to go through this. And so if you're watching this or you're listening to this and you're losing your hair, and you feel like you're the only, you kind of feel alone about it, or you think like, why is this happening to me? Well, you can be confident in the knowledge that this happens to so many guys. But unfortunately, a lot of guys don't talk about it. They don't put it out there on social media or wherever. If they're taking pictures, they're wearing hats or they're trying to cover it up. And that's why I'm thankful for you and for all of the guys who get involved in this channel and listen and watch. We're getting it out there, and we're talking about it. We're having that conversation that needs to be had. And so, thanks again for coming on, of course.
No worries. Anytime.
So, if we just talk a little bit more then, you mentioned a bit of your advice about, exercising, socializing. Talk to me just a little bit more about that from, say there's a guy and he's on the fence and he might be the same as you. He's been using the Rogaine. It's not as effective anymore. He's thinking, should I, shouldn't I shave it off? Talk that person through the next sort of few months. What do you think is the best course of action that guy should take to sort of get through this once and for all?
I would say get a razor.
Yeah.
Get a clean shave. And then focus on the good things in your life, I promise you, nobody's going to define you based on your balls. First of all. Second of all, I promise you, a lot of girls, a lot of people will say it looks very clean and good on you, People forget that having a buzz cut or a clean shave can look very sexy,
Yeah.
A lot of girls can like it a lot. And because the thing is that the media and social media and stuff like that, a lot of younger crowd, they start to think like, okay, I have to look like this and to feel good. But it's not about that. You have to work with yourself to feel good.
Yeah.
It's not based on your looks. It's based on, as I mentioned, there is a lot of things in life that has to be in balance so you can feel good. And one of them is not having or losing hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe one of them is exercising. One of them is focusing on your education, relationships. Having a great life, meeting people in other different cultures, doing good at your job, getting married if you want to, getting kids if that fulfills you. There is a lot of things that we forget when we focus on one negative thing or one negative spot.
And work on improving yourself, right? Look for because everyone's good at something, right? Everyone has positive qualities. Everyone. Just focus on those. There's no point worrying about things that you're not meant to have or genetically, that's just not you. I'm never going to be playing in the NBA. I'm never going to be, running marathons, winning gold medals, doing that. so I don't worry about not being able to do that. And having a head of hair and not having a head of hair, it's just the same, you know. Like you said, half of people are going to have hair, half of people aren't, you know, and just roll with it, right?
Tomato.
yeah, exactly, yeah. Very good, very good. Straight to the point, you know, with your advice, and I like that. And I think sometimes that's what people need, right? You got to take that medicine, you know, softly is all well and good, but sometimes you got to realize, hey, you got to snap out of it and get on with it, right?
Yeah, go to the core of the issue, you know. The issue is not the hair falling out. The issue is you looking at the problem in the wrong way.
Yeah. Well,
or the situation, we can say.
Yeah, the situation the wrong way. No, you're right. Going back there again to taking positives, right? Taking positives from
it. Always, you know, it's the way you look at life, you know. For example, we can say whatever. If something bad happened to me, maybe it's based on how I acted or not, whatever, you know. I will think about it 5 minutes and then go to like doing the good things. If it's not affecting you in 5 years, don't give it more than 5 minutes to think about it, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, listen, thank you once again.
No worries.
Thank you for everyone who's listening and watching this episode of the podcast. It's been a great episode as always. I want to thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and we will see you in the next episode. Goodbye. How's it going, everyone? So after we recorded this section of the podcast, we got all the main points in there in the first section, but our conversation actually continued for about another 20 minutes, and I've included that now in this video and in this podcast episode. So we talk a little bit more about our own personal experiences and our opinions relating to hair loss, treatments, things like that. So if you want to hear a little bit more, continue to listen, continue to watch, and again, we'll see you very soon.
The thing is, Harry, I'm going to be honest with you, you know, I'm not that kind of person that starts to talk about the other, this and this. I know what the core problem is. Problem is that people, they want to look, you know, society tells them to look in a different way, in a one way, typical way. But, you know, the reality is everybody looks different, you know what I mean? Firstly. Yeah. Secondly, if you start to nag about it and think about it, then you're going to create a problem, you know? Yeah. You're gonna create a problem, and you're gonna feel bad about it. It took me like two or 3 years to accept it. Even now, if I even had the opportunity to grow my hair back, I wouldn't do it, man. Because this is me. Why should I change myself, huh?
Yeah, no, you're right. I wouldn't take it back either. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about myself and whatnot, you know, through doing this. And I think one of the key things you said there is about, like, you got to have a purpose, you know. If you find your purpose, find things that you really want to do in life, it makes it so much easier. But if you sat there and you're dwelling on this hair loss, you know, worrying about it all the time, you get yourself into a dark place, right? Like a big hole, and it's hard to get out. It's hard to get out of.
It's hard, and you're gonna create a problem. You know what I mean? Because before, like 10 years ago, I was focusing a lot on negative things in my life. You know, so things were not going as good as I wanted to go. And now, I'm not kidding you, man. I'm doing exactly what I wanted to do. You know, one of my goals was to go to Asia. I came back like 6 weeks ago. I was traveling in Philippines, Malaysia. I was in Vietnam, I was in Australia, I was everywhere. I quit my job, I sold my apartment, I was like, I'm done with this, you know? So I went traveling. Oh. Now I came back, and everybody was telling me, like, you're crazy, you have a good job, and blah, it's going to take time to get a new job, you know? I had 3 interviews last week.
Yeah.
So one of those jobs is mine, you know? So everything is, I think you have to change your perspectives, you know. What's looking good, what's looking bad, you know. You can't define that. It's based on the perception of the human, you know. Your own perception, not like the receiver's perception. And I'm trying to, like, if a guy or a friend or something, the hair is falling off, I'm trying to give them support by, like, telling them the reality. Just cut it off, you know. If you're gonna use Regain, do it after, you're gonna see after like 1 or 2 years, the problem is still there, you know. You're gonna just trying to hang on a problem. Embrace the looks and embrace yourself, embrace life, and just shave it off and go on with your life, you know.
Yeah, 100%. And I think like with those treatments, you know, it just does literally keeps the same problem, and it makes the problem longer, right? You just have the same problem, but for more years, and the sooner you can get that confidence to just go for it, the better, you know, the better. And people don't look back, you know, like you haven't looked back. I never look back.
No.
Once it's done, it's done. You just get on with it.
Yeah, and then you know, Rogaine and all these hair transplant clinics, they are selling stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They want to make money.
Yeah.
And
in a way, I feel like it's, you know, it's easier to look for a way to hold on to that hair and stay the same person. It's easier to do that than to take this, you know, because it seems like a drastic approach to just shave off that hair. It seems like a pretty drastic measure, crazy thing to do. So it's hard to build up to that point, but if you can, the results are so much better, I think, and the quality of life is so much better. But like you said, they're just selling things, and taking a pill to hold on to the hair or having a transplant to hold on to that hair. Honestly, it almost seems like the easiest thing to do, because you're not changing, you're not making a change, you're holding on to the same you, right? And you're comfortable in your appearance with hair.
Yeah. Sometimes it's also they don't want to change. You know, you see it as sometimes you can even see it as an opportunity to change yourself, your looks and your behavior and everything. You know, maybe it's a starting point. You could use that as an argument in your future podcasts. Yeah. You know.
100%. No, I completely agree. It's like a first action to help you change other things. 100%, because we all get comfortable. You know, I can say myself, I've lived in China now for 5 years, and the last 2 years especially, I've just got really comfortable, and that's why I need to move. That's why I'm leaving. You know, got 2 months here. I'm moving back to England, where I know my life is going to be way harder, more pressure. I've got to work way harder, probably earn less money, you know, because I got so comfortable here. I had my apartment and my job, which I hardly work any hours. I get paid really well for it. But if I stay here, I'm never going to progress. I'm never going to grow. I'm just going to do the same thing for the next 10 years. And really, life's over at that point. If you just settle for that, not progressing, you know, my life, I've already died, because I'm not going to progress at all over the next few years, you know. So I had to make that change, and maybe getting rid of that bowling hair can be the first step into doing that.
And also, I think the way you look at life, you know, you see opportunities. You know what I mean? I was in a similar situation. I had a good job, I had my apartment and everything, and I was like, I need to change environment, so I need to find like what's my why, you know, in life. Why do I do things? What do I want to learn? In what field do I want to work with? You know, what do I want to do in the future? You know, because we have so many opportunities, we're getting confused. That's the problem.
Yeah. No, you're right, and I think it almost is like you said there with quitting your job and stuff like that. It's a lot of people are afraid of the unknown, myself included. You know, I don't know if it's going to be a success when I go back to England, because that's unknown. I don't know. And of course, some days I think, I'm making the wrong decision. You know, I shouldn't take that risk. And it's just natural for people to think like that. But if you don't take those leaps, if you don't jump into change, if you don't embrace change, you just stay the same, right? And you never progress. Yeah.
So I think the key is here to don't be scared and just like come out from your comfort zone. That's why I traveled, you know. That's why I left my job, and that's why I'm going to do 10 times better now than I did before. That's why, you know, I know what I can give, you know. So I just have to find the right company that will provide me my tools to develop further. That's it, man.
In your time off, you know, in quitting your job, selling your apartment, you must have learned a lot about yourself, right? Learned more about yourself and take you to that next level.
Yeah, it did. I know how I work, you know. I'm very energetic. You can tell even through this interview. I have a lot of things to say. So I need to do stuff all the time. You know, I need to develop. That's why I'm doing 4 or 5 different stuff. You know, I'm exercising, I'm playing soccer, I'm reading books, I'm meeting friends, I'm thinking about business ideas, I'm thinking about what field I want to work in, because I know I have a lot of things to give. You know.
Yeah.
I'm a giver, you know, because I think in life the core is to give, and then you will get what you want. That's it.
Yeah, I agree, and I think maybe that's the mind frame guys need to have to fully embrace themselves, like you said. Be confident.
Even girls, you know, today, for example, they post a picture on social media. If they don't get enough likes, they will feel bad about themselves. So. Yeah. So their self-confidence is not based on who they are. It's based on how people judge them, and that's very sad.
It is, yeah. It's I guess society creates most of these problems, to be honest.
It does. Yeah. So just do your job, man. You're doing a great job. You know, I'm not. It's hard for me to get inspired by people, but honestly, Harry, man, you're doing a good job. I'm getting inspired by you, man. That's why I follow your channel and stuff like that.
Yeah, thank you. No, I appreciate that, and I guess that's why you wanted to come on and do your bit as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, and honestly, like I mentioned, man, that's what it's all about. Just at the end of the day, I totally agree with your advice. You just got to get on with it. You just got to go for it. You got to focus on the good things. You just have to take that action. And it's hard because different people think in different ways. So you kind of have to put that message, that very basic message, out there in different ways. You know, the podcast, people sharing their stories, the shaving videos, the advice on that stuff. You know, I did a few animated stories. You got to go in soft with some people, but at the end of the day, it really does come down to one message, you know. But hey, we're making great progress. Like I said, things are like really positive at the moment, which I'm over the moon about. Like all the feedback is still really positive. You know, every now and again, yeah, like I said, there's some dude saying, "Oh, that guy should just use finasteride, or he should have had a hair transplant." But they always come from guys who are probably, you know, let's be honest, they're watching my videos because they're probably going through hair loss, you know, and they've got it in their minds that they need this drug or they need that hair transplant to be confident. And so I honestly think that maybe if they see guys embracing it, you know, they're not ready to, they aren't in that mind frame yet. Yeah, they don't have that mindset yet, so they kind of feel a bit like maybe attacked by it, or maybe they feel down on themselves by it. They feel like I'm maybe saying, "Oh, you're less of a person because you aren't embracing it," which is not what I'm saying at all. I've never said that. And honestly, those guys, I wish the best for them. I wish that they can get to this point where we're at, and where so many other guys have got to, where you finally something clicks and you realize, hey, what am I worried about? Why am I worried about this hair? Like, it just doesn't matter that much. And I think that everyone has the potential to get there. Everyone has the potential. Every guy who's going through hair loss has that potential to get to the point where they can just shave it off and get on with it. But a lot of it comes down to, you know, the stories they tell themselves in their head, the negative stories. It comes down to the things they're looking at online. You know, if you go to a negative place, like a lot of the hair loss forums that are only concerned with how can you keep that hair, I feel like it focuses on, okay, how can we keep the hair? But also, in turn, that means, oh, how can we keep this problem carrying on for longer? Rather than really looking at the problem for what it is, like you said, look inside myself. Why do I feel that this hair is so important to me? You know, why do I put so much value in myself attached to my hair or attached to the way I look? And I think once you can address that demon or that elephant in the room and kind of really see it for what it is, that's when you can go, bam, I don't need this. Let's get on with it. This is me. Like you said, this is the way I look. I'm going to love it. I'm going to love myself for that. And I'm just going to get on with it, and I'm not going to give a shit about what anyone else says or what anyone else thinks about the way I look. And that's when like you said, that's when all of the good stuff comes.
The magic happens.
Yeah, amazing stuff happens once you stop caring.
Yeah, I think if I analyze what you said, I think a lot of things has to do with defense mechanism. One of the things, and sometimes the core issue is not the hair loss. You have other issues, and you have to work with that, and then you will realize the issue wasn't the hair. I had some other major issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, and you've got to work through those. And really, that you only work through those by improving yourself, right? Yeah. Try not to dwell on it too much. And hey, I know everyone has so much adversity in their life, not just hair loss. There might be other things combined, and the hair loss just adds to it. But hey, if you're that person, if you can deal with that hair loss positively, if you can deal with that hair loss bravely, confidently, just go for it. That might be a nice kickstart to dealing with those other problems, Yeah. So embrace it. It all comes down to embracing it. Embrace the card in doubt. Yeah.
You don't have any other choice. If you're gonna go down the rat hole, and start with finasteride and Rogaine, you're gonna find a dead end, and you're gonna lose a lot of money, and maybe you get sick because Rogaine contains ethanol. Ethanol is toxic. Finasteride has a lot of bad side effects, but still people don't read about the side effects. They focus on the good things, And then after 10, 15 years, maybe they can't get any children. Maybe they get some other major health issues just for keeping a bit of hair, Is it worth it? No, it's not. Of course it's not worth it, So that's my way of looking at it. I'm not seeing it as a problem. I see it as an opportunity to grow as a human being and being more humble, getting more knowledge, and helping others.
No, I 100% agree, man. Well, listen, thank you.
No worries. I have an idea for you. I got an idea now. I don't know why, but are you consulting people one-on-one?
No, I mean, people send me messages, of course, and they ask me for my advice, and I give it to them. I do tell them, but I don't do like one-to-one coaching or anything like that, because I might think about it in the future, but right now, whilst everything is kind of growing, I want to kind of make it fully accessible to everyone, because I want it really to grow as much as I can. And like you said there about giving, right? If I can just give for as long as I can, then whatever I want to do with this, I think will come to me. And I do want to be able to do this full time. That would be my dream if I can travel the world, do these podcasts in person, have put on events, where we all get together. And I've talked about this before, but guys in the audience who are losing their hair, and we're up there talking. We're like, come on, let's go for it, let's embrace it. And they do it, they shave it off, and I'd love to do that. I'd love to put on stuff like that.
I'm gonna follow your journey. I believe in you, man. You're gonna do, because this is your passion now. So just focus on this thing,
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like I said, heading back to the UK, and that's gonna make it a lot more accessible to people and things. So, like you said, man, I've just got to go for it, like you did with your traveling. I've got to do the same. I've just got to jump in.
Thank you so much for the chat. Just keep on going. You're doing a great job, man. Thank you so much.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you for coming on and doing your part as well. And there you go, guys. That was episode 21 of the Baldcafe podcast. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, reach out to me on Instagram or in the comment section of the YouTube channel. Show some love. Let me know what you liked about it. Let me know what you'd like to see in the future. And I will see you then. Goodbye.